share more of that.
Opportunity for us to be here, to let ourselves be exposed with people like you who are really involved with the poor and the marginalized. And we are also trying to see how we can really see how we can move as one body, not as our own group, but together with those of you who are already very much involved in the HIV or the AIDS or the people. So I think that I speak for myself too. Although I have participated to these kind of sessions before, I feel that there are lots more of us. There are lots more things that we have to be aware, especially in terms of globalization, and also what we in the church are doing for our young people, for all those who need us. I think that this morning we heard what Brother Rogers said about our faith and our life. Sometimes really there's a great gap between these two, and I think it's very important for us to really understand how we can bridge this gap. Of course, you spoke of contemplation, speak of how Christ lives in his time, but sometimes we need certain maybe certain clear directions and clear ways on how we can move together. Yes, I believe that we all need to be personally transformed, but I think that as a people we also need to go together.
A lot of words and words in this file. So unless after today each one of us is prepared to help translate some of this into action, and if we go back and just slip away and do nothing, then I think we have wasted our time here. So since we are all from parishes, like Brother Roger said just now, there are 17 parishes represented here today. Then it's very good that if all the 17 parishes would have structures like this going on, then I suppose it will be good for those representatives here who have enriched themselves and go back to their respective parishes and enrich their structures there. And that would be very useful. Number two is that if representatives here come from parishes that do not have such structures, then I think it will be incumbent on these people to speak to their parishes, to speak to their parish priests, sell them the idea, and then start such structures there. Number three, if you have done this, and the next 3 months or so, or even 6 months, if NOSD were to organize another similar seminar of this nature, then you must be very forthright and come out and say that I have tried this, but I met with resistance from my own parish priest. I think that would be very useful. So if we can arm ourselves with concrete steps, number 1, number 2, and number 3 that we want to do, then I think what we learn and enrich from a session like this will be useful. Otherwise, I think we have to wait for next year, another session like that, and we are still having words, and nothing, and no action being done. So I think it's just that 3 things that those of us representing parishes can do. Thank you very much.
In the year 2000, 5 parishes who reported they have integral for development committee. 2000 committee board. Now it says 9.
They have come here.
But
Officially said by
they are having this already. When they run the 2000, is it the same? Are they still the number?
if we take a quick count.
PIHD is called.
Okay, yes.
Which
We
parish?
type official now. This is new now. Holy Rosary, Holy Redeemer, Land, SMS, Kajang, Francis of SCC has started last year. Any other AD Blues was one of the oldest. Yes, Father Eugene there. Any other? I think SIC officially doesn't have one. Elizabeth? No, we don't have.
So the Integral Human Development Committee is an umbrella body. The PEC is the main trust. It's not an association, it's not a society, it's not an organization. It's church. Basically doing the church as the main trust, and we have already given directives for that. There's another forum where we see whether these directives are, we observe whether they are coming, gathering together. We don't use the word meeting. The mental framework also has been changed. When you say meeting, then you have treasurer, you have president, all this kind of thing. It's a gathering of people. They are gathering together and beginning of singing. The faith gathering, believers come together. So this is one area. Then we have, for example, ecumenism and interreligious dialogue. Relations.
Let us hear your stories. I'm sure there are many other new ways in which we can see the meaning of PIHD. Even in our own minds, if you look at in your files, you see a nice, beautiful set of references that was worked out by one of the parishes from our initial experiences, the parish of Our Lady of Lourdes. It is their, it was their experience of structure. But I don't think that those words or those, terms of reference are meant for all of us. Meaning it is not just
43 years old, but the sad part was most of it is partly dormant, not active because of certain it's under some control. But one thing I like to inquire is the IHD is an umbrella. We have a few ministries under the IHD, but does it vary from church to church or parish from parish? Who these ministries are under the IHD? From I don't know, one priest will have certain ministries included into the IHD. When another priest comes, he says, oh, these are not the ministries should be in, and then other ministries cover and this one and go. Is there a standard or a thing, standard regulations where certain ministries are supposed to be in the IHD and certain ministries are not?
What brother brought is quite relevant. See, the representatives in, we call it PIHD, Parish Human Integral Development Committee. See, we have, I think it's a must if I'm not wrong, that a representative should be from the local BC. But you see, sometimes in BCs, for some good reason or not, sometimes there's an election and there it may get a little bit political group and things like that. Those people who sincerely want to work sometimes get ousted. So what happens, people who have been doing good work in the PIHD are not there, as what His Grace said. For example, may be there for 20 years, some may be there, next year we may not be there. So how do we overcome this? Some people who really want to volunteer, who want to serve, but then they are not given a chance. Can you be independent of the DEC? Somebody wants to volunteer and be in the PIHD. That's one. Another point is, see, this is integral. We have got to work together with the parish priest. Anything, parish priest, ladies, men and youth and all, we have got to work together. So sometimes we have this culture or disease of just leveling criticism. If it is constructive and suggestive, it is good. But just for the sake of dissension, argument, your opinion is different from that, we tend to create conflicts and that may be a little discouraging. So instead of having a meeting where it has got to be talk of something productive, it ends up in something, argumentative and things like that. So we must also, probably when we talk about compassion and we talk about mercy, we should also be merciful to others. What we are suggesting, we shouldn't just simply assail a person just because your view is not acceptable. So I think we should also mellow that culture and adopt a good culture of cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Rogers. Every time we learn something new. And coming to this IHD, I'm from SIC, we don't have such a ministry, but in my own, I think this IHD is actually, it has been happening in every ministry in the church. And to create a structure just to have this IHD, I think it's going to create a sense that, oh, there is this group of people looking into this, and let's do our own. So, and that is why there's this insights this morning that he came up with this paradigm of the paradox. I think that is something I won't forget. Okay, you have a lot of people who say, I love God, but don't come and ask me about BC, because they go to church every day, that's all their job is. But you don't come and talk to them about BCs. So this kind of culture where, that, you know, I've done my spiritual duty, don't talk to me about BCs, because we have been going around our BCs trying to do this formation. A lot of them, they say that, oh no, I go to Mass, automatically I should be able to have this community spirituality, but we don't find it. You know, we have always this problem of lack of participation in BCs. But I would just like to throw something here, because at the moment the Archdiocese is a very powerful media where they meet, where they reach the BC gatherings, and that is the reflection paper. And of course there are two ways. One is to meet to reach the people at large, and the insights that this morning we heard about, you know, the cry of this NOHD, where a lot of people, because I think a lot of us live in isolation. I mean, there are a lot of our main source of information, the CNN and all this media, which, you know, we don't see the other part of the story until we get things like coming out to the reflection paper that tells us the other side of the story, like what Bishop was saying, that 50% of marriages in Malaysia are ending in divorce. These kind of shock statistics can actually help us when we go into gathering and see what can we do to avoid this. And I think we need those kind of information, because the only information that we get is that bombing Iraq is very good for the country and very good for America and very good for everybody else. And we don't get the other part, as you say, you know, there's $2 billion worth of just getting to one man, trying to get rid of one man. I think those are kind of insights which people need to look on the other side. What is actually, you know, because we always read the papers and this is what we accept. We don't take a lot of trouble to see what is in between the lines. But what I'm proposing here is there are two things. One is the NOHD has, you know, like in our case we have started thing as every year we go on a planning session with the PPC, with the planning team. We plan for the next year. And very often what ends up is that we have a lot of events, a lot of celebrations that we conduct, but I've noticed that it's all internal. You know, we look after our own parishioners. Very seldom it's outside the church. You know, we do not plan to meet this kind of human development needs. All we need is, or we get some parish celebration, everybody comes together, the numbers are very good, we have successfully organized a session. Similarly, we have family day and all this stuff, and you know, all this is just to get the numbers, and we say we have done a very good event. But is that what the whole mission of the church is? And I think like this is educate people who are in the councils, like especially at this session should be actually maybe at the church level. You give them a broader perspective of what the church is. You know, this faith and life is been talked about so much, but it's probably the paradox, like, oh, you know what it is, but it's very difficult to carry out the action. So that is one way, and the other way is through this reflection paper. I think that inputs through the reflection paper where people gather, people tell families, talk about these kind of things, I think it's going to have a major change in the way we live. Instead of, you know, creating structures, I think structures will sometimes just form, as somebody said, you know, form a structure is dormant because nobody wants to take over. But it's something that we have to treat in our normal, way of life. Thank you.
And we drew out the whole own purpose and the guidelines. And when I look at the guidelines at the folder, more or less that has been further improved. And for me, when you ask me what do you mean by being a member of PIHDM, as a member. So to me, it means it is a holistic development of the whole person, and the development of all persons, especially the weak, disadvantaged, marginalized, and migrant workers. I do it that way. So it is by getting myself involved in this ministry, I also get myself develop my personality, my whole life gets developed spiritually. So that way I see that this ministry, how I am involved in ministry, and we have also to not raise funds. Of course, we need raise funds to care for the poor and the sick. We set aside the second collection of every first month goes towards this ministry. In addition, we also have donations from the well-wishers. And then the cases come to us, come to the parish. Some cases comes through the BECs. They investigate, they do the recommendations, and then we make the parish makes a study of it, and then the funds are given out. Funds are given out. Especially towards the end of the year, we have a lot of requests coming from the poor families for books, school books, bags and shoes and all that. Quite a big amount. And what we do is each case is studied, investigated, and then we take the children to the schools. We don't give them the cash to the families. You know it very well. Sometimes the cash doesn't, the money doesn't go to the children. The children are taken to the schools, and we go to the schools and how much, whether we could get free books and what the school could have them. And then we take the children to the shops, to buy uniforms and shoes. And that way we help them, you see, but no money is directly handed over to the families. And also we have, for just to give you an example. So the year 2000, our receipt through donations and church collection came to 10,853. But we have made payments 21,000. There was overspend of 10,000. So the extra money had to come from the parish. Because one or two cases were very difficult cases, because especially one lady who had a brain tumor, and she had to be referred to a specialist Sunway, and that itself cost quite some of money. And once his family, church had his family, what the BEC did was, man couldn't get a permanent job because he had to look after his wife and 3 children. So he was also jobless. And the BEC, they took upon themselves to look after the family, especially taking the woman, the family, the lady to the hospital in Sunway, and also provisions, monthly provisions. While the church looks after the medical bills, So, and also, we have cases, since we are quite close to the port, we have cases coming to the port, migrant workers who are left stranded, no air ticket, and then we find that it's a genuine case. So we buy a ticket and make sure that he gets back home. And also we get cases coming to our parish. They're stranded, they can't go back to hometown in Seremban or Malacca or JB or Ipoh, anywhere, because they come to the hospital. So what we do, we find it's a genuine case, we look at their medical records and all that. We purchase a ticket to a particular person. We take him to the bus station and make sure he boards the bus. You see? So that money is well spent. So these are the areas that our ministry is looking into it, and that's where how we work this ministry in our own parish. But of course there are a lot of challenges and there's a lot of difficulties we face, But the strength from the Lord we carry on doing, and we thank God that the support from home for the children, poor children, abandoned children, and all that is home for the age. So they have got 12 to 15 children. They look after them. They send them to school, and they house them and all that. So they have they have some benefactors that are coming, giving them some form of aid and all that. So even, for example, we have in our parish nurses, Catholic nurses here. Once in a month, we have clinical stations. That means clinical cases are come to them. Nurses are there, especially those who are poor. Normal basics nursing aid is given. Not aid, attention is given to them, blood pressure, pills and all that, So we have nurses coming once in a month. So they are part of the PIHD also. Once in a month.
Thank you. President, yes, one more representatives in the
PIHD, each BEC will have a rep of PIHD in the BEC, because when you set up every 2 years when there is an election, there is one ministry, apart from the usual chairperson and all that, the youth ministry and all that, the PIHD representative will also come from the BEC. So he comes for the meeting in the parish. So each BEC is as a representative, a PIHD representative, BEC or zone.
Migrant workers ministry or
No, of course they not. But then we take care of them. The such cases come, if they are from the BEC representative will have to look into it and see what way they can help out, or what way they investigate and send the case to the parish. The few cases have come because they are domestic workers, they are being ill-treated and all that. So BEC chairperson discreetly, they will go investigate and all that, then they bring the cases to us. And also we have lawyers in our ministry who will take up such cases, such cases.
I'm Anna from Holy Rosary Church. I'm very glad to have the opportunity now to talk to all of you here, because I came with one problem just to learn about the MIHD, and now I'm going back with another problem, to know about my parish priest, being in the papers, Herald, and I feel that I have to give this opportunity to tell you that human resources is not only about money and solving problems, but it's solving about parish priests also, at his case, and he's the victim, And I say that before this, I just came back from St. Anne's Church, and we were full of fun because we brought our parish priest with us in the past, and we never had such a good time, He's a priest that I'm really grateful to have in our church. 5 years, I've heard that MIHD has been on for so many years, but we never had it in our church. So what happened? What happened along the line? BECs have been going for the last 18 years, but what happened, Did the parish priest go to sleep over the past few years? But this parish priest of ours, John, brought us here, all of us came today, and I'm glad that he did all this. He's a very nice priest, and he's opened up all of us to realize what the parish should look like, all these years that we fighting for BECs, but none of us really practice it, For 10 years we had, but then with the parish priest, the past ones didn't give support, we cannot do it, right? But when Father John came along, these 2 years, the church is so different, Can you imagine the priest, the church, 5 years ago, they had masses, but we had no books, no screens, and they expect BECs to come and then sit one whole group of 7 people sharing 2 books, because those parishioners will have books, but BECs, when they come from other churches, don't have books to share. So all of us going to be sharing all these books with 2 books with 7 people. So when we ask for screens or whatever, we are always put back, I say, no, you don't have this. But when Father John came, everything was so different. Now our ministries are put in order. We have a proper place like Johnstown's, the hall there where we can even conduct a lot of meetings and all. Bible classes of 100 over people can be there. And then for the first time we had 8 days of St. Anne's Novena carrying all in the church. We never heard of all this before, And it would be very unfair for me to be sitting down here listening to MIHD, and I'm not talking for my parish priest. He should stay in our church, and I don't know whether the bishops here are listening, but he should stay here because we don't want any more changes, and all the more if the bishop had to change, it's not now. Because we don't want everyone to have problems to say that each time they go to the bishop and make complaints and they change. What will happen to the world like that, So we do. So all the more will have to stay for the next 20 years.
Because before I came, I heard this IHD, heard of it. So I'm suspicious about this group of society. Because I'm from Mantin and I heard in Seremban, because I'm the SPP Citizen Report, over there there's some conflict or something else is happening. So I have a very curious about this IHD, because the way I look at it, it seems like a conflict to the service of the core, and this is that. But today I come, at least I understand more about this IHD, and I hope that this actually is the new church. The service report is doing for the past trying to change. This, I see the IHD is the whole objective is very good because we don't let talking about welfare. Then all the parishioners will automatically SUPs do nothing to do with PEC, nothing to do with the church. The parishioners have no response from that. But with this IHD, I look at it as a very great vision that each and every one parishioner have the duty to reach out to the poor, not only the semester before. The thing is, I want to know that at least the kind of cooperation must be there. Mutual understanding is very important to make sure that the church make sure with this big vision the system can be worked more systematic account. I don't know, I'm not in position to say, but I'm just curious that how the account they want to manage. Because I understand that like the semester before they have a very strict on account that they need to give the public accountant to do, and the money is very what you call it, very clear account being done each year. So with that also we have to consider on the account members. That's all.
The first time I'm attending a session like this is an eye-opener in some ways. On the other hand, we heard a lot of sharing of people about particular problems in each parish. And I'm a little confused as to what the format and function of this Parish Integral Human Development Committee has to play in a parish which does not have one, but has other ministries which deal with the poor, the marginalized, and so on. Like in the Holy Family Church in Kajang, the St. Vincent de Paul Society is quite active. It has a home that it maintains for children. It has 14 zones, BEC zones. And if you look at BECs, I think there are about 250. All these BECs identify activities within the area which deal with some of the things we've been talking about. People in need, people who are sick, people who need transport to church, to hospital, and so on. So these are being done. There is also a ministry of the poor in the parish which carries out collection once a month. And with that funds, they support, I believe, 28 families. And occasionally they ask through BECs or through level for clothing and for furniture and special items which they require. And the response has been very good. We also have a prison ministry, which although not belonging to the parish, I'm not too sure whether it's an archdiocese level, but it is because the prisons are in Kajang. It's very, very well focused there. And the prison ministry representative attends the PCC meetings and gives periodic reports about the activities. And he is able, or he or she is able to get people to come and support him in the ministry. As I see it, I'm a little confused. As I see it, the Parish Integral Human Development Committee is an umbrella organization of all these activities that are taking place. Or is it a new body that's going to give direction to these people? Is it a coordinating body, or is it going to direct these various existing, functioning, and very effective ministries in the church at the moment? I'm new to the parish organizations. I'm in the PPC, Pastoral Council. I'm not aware of a PIHD in Kajang, although Brother did mention that Kajang had one. I'm supposed to go back and report to the PPC. I think there are a lot of activities which we call human integral development, which is being done, carried out on a personal basis, on a BEC level, and on a parish level. Somebody mentioned that most activities in a parish already parish focused. I think that's what it should be. Personally, I think that's what it should be. Of course, we are aware of the world outside the parish. So this is perhaps a committee that will sensitize us to the events that are taking place outside our parish. Events that relate to migrant workers, refugees, events that take place with regard to religious persecution elsewhere in the world, and what our church can do and how we can be sensitized to these events. But I think we should not belittle the efforts of our individuals and our parish organizations and BECs in whatever we do in helping out our neighbor, our friends and our neighbor. I mean, there are a lot of activities we have done. Every Lenten campaign, I know my BEC takes up a project, which will mean going to a particular home for the aged, or some home for the orphans or abused children, providing them whatever material aid they need, spending a day with them, sharing a meal with them, and so on. That's more to help us in our Lenten campaign, to make us more feeling towards those in need. Perhaps it also helps them in whatever we give them. So I think there is a groundswell of good feeling and caring and sharing within our parish organizations. If you want an umbrella organization to coordinate all this, I'm all for it. I think it's a very good idea. But if it is to take over these activities and to give direction, I think you may come into clashes which we can well avoid. Thank you.
We have been discussing about the activities of our Society of St. Vincent de Paul and how to introduce or implement ISD in the parish. As we gathered what has been expressed by our brothers and sisters earlier, there is it leads to a little bit of misunderstanding between ISD and SVP. ISD is a part and parcel of the church, SVP is a part and parcel of the church, taking care of the poor, the needy and the marginalized. And this has been, being existed in 136 countries all over the world, and in Malaysia we have about 66 conferences. I should say most of the parishes, most of the churches, we have Society of St. Vincent de Paul. We must be very thankful to God that the good Lord has enabled and encouraged and inspired so many Vincentians to carry out the work of the poor. Who are the poor people? The children of God. The good Lord has spent most of the time in this world with the poor, and they are taking care of the poor. So they are doing a very good job, I should say. So we must be very thankful to them. But now the present situation is how to implement ISD in a parish. ISD is not to be implemented to go against the activities of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. ISD has got a whole, different concept altogether. That must be very, very clearly spelled out. What is the whole concept of integral human development, which they have been trying for the last few years to be implemented in a parish. And what are the obstacles? What are the medicines that are preventing or that spoiling the thing? What are the medicines to overcome these difficulties? What are the cause of it? To me, I should say, we must get the blessing of the priest concerned. Even the SPDP cannot be functioned if the priest deliberately or intentionally wanted to go against. And no ISD can be implemented if the priest don't give a green light, blessing. He is a source of everything in a parish. He is a living God for all of us in a parish. So if the priest wanted to implement that ISD in a parish, then we need his prayers and blessing for that. What is ISD all about? They must go in a very collaborative way with the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. It is not to fight against. ISD will be very much involved with the BECs. But as far as SVP is concerned, we don't much involved with BECs. I am also a member of Society of St. Vincent de Paul of St. John's Cathedral. We don't go very deep into the BECs. Although there are families coming to us, approaching us for help and need and financial assistance. But we just personally go and study the case, investigate the case, and if we have the opinion that particular person deserves our help, we just give them. But we are not very much going to the BCs. But integrated human development is implemented. Definitely 100% the BCs ought to get involved into that. Though all the BCs will come to know how many of our brothers and sisters suffering without a knowledge in our right and left of our neighborhood. The BCs do not know, they are not aware of it. So if ISD is implemented in a parish, introduced in a parish, it is my firm opinion, then taking care of the poor will go in a very, very well manner, but not to go against SVP. The priest also shouldn't go against the existence, the activities of SVP. So this is humble request that, and I try to say that we need the blessing, the prayers, and the green light of the priest concerned to introduce this ISD in a parish. And it can go in a very collaborative way with Society of St. Vincent de Paul. They both will be traveling the same boat, carrying out the work of the good Lord, taking care of the poor and the needy. Thank you.
About the IHD and SVP. It is almost in our meeting also they say we are duplicating work. But I find it is not the same. Because under the new wave in church, the poor when we investigate, after investigation, IHD only gives immediate aid for the month. You see? And after that, for a few months, then the poor family has to be at the new wave in church is possibly actually goes to the BEC. BEC is supposed to come out and help the poor. So as the SVP in the old ways of giving this aid to the poor should be, I encourage them to pass it to the BEC and no more holding them. Instead their new duty is to teach, to have seminar and teach the BECs how to handle the poor, how to respect them and the different ways of handling the poor people in the BEC. For always giving the rations to the poor and through the years, I think it is high time the SVP has to change their mentality of handling the poor. No use of giving poor every month ration through the years. I have been the chairman of the SVP, and it is time that we should change. IHD comes in only to also investigate the case. After investigation, we give temporary aid, and after that we pass it to look for the BEC of that area. Please take it over. And if they can raise the money to take care of the poor, then it's okay. If not, then IHD on the correction will pass the money to the BEC that this is the money every month should help so much to the poor, help the poor, then the BEC will do it. So in this way, the SVP also should give out this handling of the poor operations to the BECs in the different areas, and then organizing seminars and meetings to train these BECs people to involve and to respect the dignities of this, how to respect these dignities of the poor. That's why I think is how we can, and our area also always request, why are we duplicating work? We are not duplicating work. We are only investigating, help them temporarily, and then push it to the BEC in the area of the poor. Thank you.
Thank you, next up, please.
Okay, I heard this, in fact, like this IHD, actually I'm also new and I also in the SVP. Actually, because of this, actually in our parish we also very new, and like the brother says, okay, I agree with actually it's very good is that the BEC and not being sure that, because as a SVP sometimes, I mean, it's very, I mean, if you the BEC your areas, you should know your people better and you can get them closer and more. But then the problem is the implementation is that
SVP is doing this job, it's not for years and years. Actually, it's right that like this type of ration, this type of small SVP should be able to like how to pass it on to the IHD or BNC or this and that, to train them up on that. And of course, I think even in the SSVP, the State Council is that the SVP actually is supposed to, it's difficult to change actually, it's difficult, it's a new thing that change. All the while SVP is doing this job and suddenly, the structure become like, they have become so small in the, so, but then I think, even for the SSVP, I think like, brother said, sorry for don't know how many centuries already, or decade already. So actually for the SVP also, I think we need to transform ourselves, that rather than do this kind of the ration job, which everybody can do it, which I think the BEC maybe can do it more effectively. Maybe there will be initial setup, problems, but I think maybe in times they should be able to get over it. But for the SVP, I think we should focus on those projects. I think even like those of homes or not, those are like marginalized. So we should maybe more focus. But I think hopefully that this initial period we should be able to overcome it. How to cut the red tapes. That's the problem. Is normally the SSVP actually is react very fast because they already very structured and they already have very experienced. But the IHD scene is very new, and how the SVP is going to have them. That is another problem, is whether the relationship, like just like the brother said, how the parishes and the relationship with the SSVP and the PIHD, how are you going to play with that roles to balance it out. So that will definitely some conflict, and red tape, all this and that. So that's also the question. I don't know how to answer that. So hopefully it will be bring as smooth as for our one, which is just really set up. So we also face this problem, and for those, I think the brother Louis, which already have more experience on that, maybe the sharing maybe help us know what is the problem that you encounter in the initial setup, and maybe you can share with us. So at least for the new, like we all in the IHD, how to overcome these kind of things, the weaknesses that you have faced before, so that will help us now.
It's not what we are doing now, not the structures that we have, but definitely our starting point is our vision as church in the context of our journey together. That's very, very clear. The red booklet, isn't it? The red book, that's our Bible, that's our word of God as a community's way of trying to say this is what we hopefully believe as church here in Malaysia. This is very clear, our red book. So we were saying that this vision and mission has to find some way in which we now, from this vision and mission, have to find ways in which we have to make human development or human promotion or whatever call it a new way of the church. I think that is very clear. That this is what this human development thing is for the church a basic option to what? A basic choice to be we cannot become a new way of being church without being what? Without being involved in human development. There's no argument about that, isn't it? Whether it's Vincent Paul or whether it's a parish, whether it's a BEC, whether it's I think that is very clear. So I think we need, as church, the next step will be, this is our first principle or first whatever you call it, and that is clear. This is an option for the church way back in 1976. We use the word related need, and that is very clear. We've been journeying as a church to understand what is integral human development is. I think the second thing is that if this is our vision and mission, how do we understand this vision and mission? How do we understand this vision and mission with relation to what? Integral human development. I think the word human is very clear for us. What is human? Human is the whole person and all persons. I'm just very consciously trying to put in words what we share. This is how basic it is. So we cannot talk of integral human development only talking about what? The material needs of people. Isn't it? It is not about giving man food or giving women food, not giving people food. It has to do with what? The whole person, which is very new. You agree, isn't it? It is not the material man we are trying to look after. So, I don't want to go into details, but it's very, very clear. And who are the all? We have to see who are the all. And not just those around our church compound or PECs, not the whole of society, whole of humanity. And this teachings of the church, especially now with regard to the human, leads us to the second word, which is what? Integral. So what is so integral about this development? It is not just looking after the whole person and all people. The word integral points out more and more today, especially even in the light of our reading this morning, that it is not just what? It is not just welfare and emergency assistance. It is not just what? Giving food and putting oil and wine into the wound. The church has slowly developed the word what? The word development, and that's why the Catholic Welfare Services in 1981 complemented the word Catholic Welfare Services Office for Human Development, implying that what? That we have to be involved in the process, not just giving people food all the time, but what? Teaching him to fish, and giving education, and not just doctors distributing what? I was going to say drugs. Doctors distributing medicine, but what? Helping people to educate, living one, healthy lives, balanced diet. So development involves a whole range of activities. So when we talk of the work of Vincent de Paul, it is not just what? It is not just assistance, immediate assistance. We can be sometimes to talk assistance because we literally interpret what? Putting oil and wine, putting him on your ass and taking him to the hospital. But it is not that, it is a whole range of activities. And thirdly, we know that this welfare and development is not going to stop. Because tomorrow, somebody around the corner is going to be knocked once again on his head. Then we bring in the word what? Bring the word justice and advocacy. What is advocacy? Justice and advocacy. To ensure that what? That the country promotes a policy where the basic health needs of the people are looked after. I think that is also the role of the church, not just to pick up the thing of giving education, but also to ensure that the policies and laws in the country promote justice. So it's taking the same analogy of giving a man a fish, teaching him to fish, the next will be what? Make sure that the guy can fish, to ensure that the rivers today are not polluted, to make sure that we cry out and clearly the factory is throwing chemicals into the river, that is killing thousands of fishermen of their livelihood. See what I'm trying to say? So integral is the integration of what? Welfare, development and justice. Now this is one part, this is the integral human development. What is the word development today as understood in the church? Development we know today is nothing to do with just material development. It has got to do with the whole way in which society itself is moving away in a certain direction. It has to do with the fundamental values of society today. And that has led us, one says, more and more in the church today, to realize that our involvement with the poor is not just helping the poor. It is to what? It is to make sure that our involvement with the poor will lead us as church to what? To continue to be the salt, the leaven in society, to ensure that the whole of the world will what? And will slowly take the good news, the values of the gospel as its fundamental way of life. And that is why it fits in very well with the teaching of the Second Vatican Council. We have two fundamental documents. One is what we call Lumen Gentium, church as communion, church as people of God, and this church as people of God is for what? For the life of the world. And this whole involvement of the poor is for what? Not just to help the poor, but to make sure that our involvement in the ministry of compassion will lead us as church to what? To be the sign of salvation of the whole world. So there seems to be the church is moving away. It is not just Vincent de Paul doing work. It is not just NOAC doing work. It is what? Every single believer in the good news becomes the good news where? In our workplace, in our life, in our activities. So before we thought that what? IHD is what? Is welfare, is development. Now we are saying no, this is just a way through which we begin to affect. And that now leads us. So you see, we say what is the mandate of IHD? What is the mandate? I think the mandate is very, very clear. That our involvement will hopefully lead us to what? To animate and form who? Ourselves as church. You see the little shift. There is no more what? It is no more the service arm of the church. Hopefully, this service arm of direct, I think Grace can share this a little bit also, how the whole 1970s when we started the visa experience for the bishops. Now we started out with this experience, immersion and dialogue with the church of the whole. Why? So that we can also begin to inherit or internalize the compassionate experience of Jesus, and will bring back into our formative processes in the church. So I think one mandate very clear of IHD is what? Is also to what? To be involved in animation and formation. You get what I'm trying to say? So within for example, let's say we run this formation program. I think we should be out there working with the drug addicts and the migrants. What are we doing here? Running a formation program. Why? Because this is also part of our role. Because hopefully we also believe, that our involvement is a poor is not to help themselves, but what? But to help us to be converted to the gospel. I think this is the paradox of the gospel again. And you go and read the gospel with them, and what happens to them? Maybe a few things happen to them, and what happens to us, I think is more important. You get my point. This animation and formation is about our conversion in our, and so that is the first mandate of the hopefully of the ministry of IHD. And from that mandate, we move on to provide what? To provide other services. So that is why when we began originally the idea of the IHD councils, definitely if you look at the program, you see that the very, very important word under section 3, it says collaborative ministries. It is no more a privatized project of a few people in the church to be involved. Hopefully it will be one. Collaborative. So definitely, and George, I think it's not a competitive new organization that will compete with others, but hopefully will develop. And who will be part of this thing? Hopefully those from the catechetical, liturgical, biblical, will be part of this animation and formation team. As we share the life of, I think George also was saying, we are saying how we need to run more causes. So it's not we running causes by ourselves. We should run it as a Latin campaign, our leaflets, our pamphlets, should bring in our experiences of the poor into the life of the church. Hopefully from that, the services will involve new ministries for pastoral care, for example, for the caring impact, for the broken families, for the drug, all those are services that hopefully we will develop. And thirdly, this pastoral care and so on will also make us to be involved in interreligious dialogue with people out there in our normal activities in our area. So I think the three levels at which we can talk of IHD. One is what? Integral human development of whom? Or we, no matter where we are, not belong to any structure, meaning what? We don't belong to IHD council, but we have the mandate, obligation, the duty, responsibility to act well, to act in the world. As individuals and family members, you don't have to belong to the IHD for your family to, for you to educate your children about consumer tendencies today. Do you get my point? So I think that is what the first level. All of us have a responsibility to be involved in the maybe IHD is not the best word. I don't know what you call it. Which is what you call it. You live your Christian life, but it's not IHD. This word, Christian witness, our Holy Father calls it, living your Christian witness. Your word, your worship, your witness becomes one in your life. So that is, so maybe the IHD don't claim to be specialist, and we don't claim to be specialist, but we have something to contribute to ensure that the personal development, personal growth, holiness, wholeness of individuals. And therefore, in order to do that within the church, they are suggesting or proposing a committee, a council that will serve more as an umbrella body. I think that is very clear. It is not another consolidation of people to do things. I think the point is not things, to do things. The point is what? A council, a consultative council, a coordinating body. As it is, we don't really know how the complete manufacturing. Many parishes are trying different things, But I think one thing is clear, that within this collaborative ministries, all the different ministries in the church that form the IHD, I think the basic principle is this, all of us bring our charisms to this collaborative ministry. And what is the charism? Yes, in the church there are many charisms. And LaSalle brother, Grace is a archbishop, a priest, religious. We all bring our charisms for what purpose? To be at the service of the larger community. And we have a specific charism. So within the IHD ministry, if it is a collaborative ministry, what does the Ascendancy Default bring? Not its work. Its work changes with times. Now what Ascendancy Default started in France 300 years ago cannot be what is in Malaysia. Isn't it? The new ministries that have developed. So how would new ministries, for example, reach an SFX? And what else do you have SFX besides reach? You have Ascendancy Default.
We have the
Environment Committee. Save a Life Team. Those on wheels, migrant workers, the whole lot of fun. People that come together and hopefully what do? Hopefully they animate and form themselves in the light of the gospel as to what this ministry means. Then, secondly, we know today more and more this Ministry of Integral Development is becoming a very, very, very specialized ministry. Yes or no? Don't think any of you can handle any of the latest problems we deal with migrants, refugees, the way you teach people. I don't think Vincent before is capable. Sorry, we're not capable in the sense of we don't have the skills. You need legal skills, you need professional skills. You need to counsel drug addicts, you need to understand the United Nations Convention on Refugees before you can advise somebody how you can help him to go to the United Nations. You can't talk of women's issues today, we don't understand the laws related to domestic violence. So it is this skills and charisms, hopefully in the light of our understanding of our vision and mission that brings us together. Not to compete, not to fight, not to, yes, a friend of like, not to pitfalls, but how, so what is missing there is, this is missing. The vision and mission is missing. They have come here as one. Maybe activists to try to do something for other people. I think that is not the vision of the church. So we see gradually as we move along, and this is the spirit behind the IHD. And I think this spirit hopefully will slowly move towards this idea. So definitely Vincent de Paul has a role. He will ask himself what is their vocation to nation in the context of 20th and 21st century Malaysia, not 18th century France. I have asked myself what is the meaning of LaSalle, because it will slowly move towards this idea. So definitely Vincent de Paul has a role. He will ask himself what is their vocation to nation in the context of 20th and 21st century Malaysia, not 18th century France. I have asked myself what is the meaning of LaSalle, because not in 17th century France, but 20th century. So I think same with the youth also, asking the question, what is the role of youth? The way I would see the role of youth is, I think the role of youth is two. They should be, hopefully, their ears are close to their fellow youth, so they'll cry in the sight in the middle of the church to hear the voices of the youth. And hopefully they themselves are involved with the youth outside the church. 80% of the church, or youth today in Malaysia, 80% of the drug addicts are youth. Are you all in touch with that? Are you listening to their voices? Are you Have you ever asked yourself why they ended up as drug addicts? The parents, our governments, our politicians have one name to call them. They call them the menace of society. Do we also call them the menace of society, or do we call them victims of decisions that adults have made for ourselves? A perspective like that, I think, will help us to get. Hopefully, the youth also in each of the parishes will become part of the IHD. We'll have youth, we have family members. Hopefully, one day we'll have children also right at the center of our IHD. Because we think IHD is something to decision making. I don't think it's decision making. It's a formative thing. If you can have a program like this for all your BEC coordinators, just imagine, how a new vision, a new understanding can develop new collaborative ministries. I'm sure one day, when you have your IHD meeting, let's say a reflection on micro programs, maybe the categorical team should be there, isn't it? So there are migration Sunday, the categorical teachers will make them sensitive about the Holy Father's message for migration Sunday. Let's say this Friday World AIDS Day. Who's going to do? Not people like us. And we are people who fly up to the space and keep nice talks outside. But normally people who are there involved with the parishes, bringing them together. So that difference in one sense, is a vision, the mission, the strategy of how the IHD hopefully will work in the parish level. And it is up to us to ask, can we start building a new structure when we don't have the spirit? Can we just have the spirit and words in our files and not translate into complete structure? So what is very clear is 4 words for us. Vision. From there what do we get? We get a very, very clear policy, hopefully. And this policy will also clarify to us what is going to be the structure. And hopefully from the structure, we will slowly develop some programs and projects. Depending on the what? On where we are. What clan next to the cement, maybe a certain type of ministry may develop. Right in St. John's, Bukit Nanas, a lot of drug addicts there, another type of ministry may develop. And we get bigger and trying to say, there has to be, and I think this calls for, although we are moving 8-10 years, I think that one thing we can say, at least from our office, that things are definitely moving. Things are definitely moving, but not maybe at the pace that many of us would like things to move. We like instant results, we like instant organizations, ready-made prefabricated structures. I think one of the days when you can expect such structures. I think the structures are evolving, and our presence here, I think, shows very clearly, that definitely the vision is clear, the policy is always a direction. And that's why, just now you mentioned that sometimes we don't have a direction when people say that all the DECs are not necessary. They don't see clearly the direction of the church. That I'm being a good Catholic by myself, this church, that is not church. Doesn't understand the policy, and from the policy, hopefully a structure will evolve, DEC level, parish level. So I think I've talked too much, but I hope that clarifies some of the questions that you have raised. And that is, the word is collaborative ministry. Integration of animation and formation and services. And hopefully the services and animation and formation will not lead us to do things for other people. Hopefully will help us to renew our own values of what it means to live Christian life, our personal lives, in our community lives, in our work life. And from this experiences that we gain, will come together as one, as a structure in the church. Not an organization, hopefully a community in the church that is caring, that is compassionate, and that helps others in the church also to learn how to care in a inverted commas in a professional way. I think professionalism is called for today. Why? Because the professionals today are distorting the world. The professionals today are distorting the world. And the media professionals, the political professionals, the economic, they're distorting the world today. And therefore the church needs professionalism in promoting the gospel, not just talking of our heads. And that's where the role of the council is there. In the parish, so that from the parish we will slowly move on to the any way can form the other. So I hope that is, it's clear that as so that we can move from confusion to chaos. Confusion to peace and harmony. Because usually confusion leads to chaos, and hopefully we have cleared that and the doubts and confusion, and we can try to see how we can see life again. Unless somebody has got any urgent comments, something like that. Does it make sense or not? Yes. All the silent majority, the church usually say yes. Is it alright? All those that have raised questions, is that clear? So maybe from this we can move on to the next step after tea, follow our doctor's prescription. How do we take concrete steps now? What can we do? Don't talk about what other people can do. What can the 51 of us here do? Is to continue journey. The direction is clear, the vision is clear, and the steps are hopefully will come. So we'll take our talk to guys in different areas, to see how we can open your eyes to see your ears, to see what can be the contribution of the youth in this ministry, with your voice can be heard there, Then we can come back and share our suggestions and proposals. Will that be alright? Yes? Will that be alright? Yes. So maybe just put up your hands. The 5 districts, I think 2 districts except for Ihd and Batam Pujutai, Rao, and I think we don't have this one. Klang district will be, is it Klang is called Klang district? For Klang, how many are there?
3 plus Robert, I will really enjoy this.
That's good. So that's one group. The second group, Jaya, SIC, Assumption, Puchong, Fatima. Yeah, so that's Jaya, KL Central, St. John's, St. Anthony's, Holy Rosary, Fatima. That's the 4th group, and KL North, we have P Road, Selayang, Kajang, so south will be Kajang and then this Sembilan. Sentul, I think nobody from Sentul here. So please, I think we can use this room, we can move on to the corner that can be Klang there. Central can be
How to start the ministry, basically, of course, everybody agreed that the first thing we need is support from our parish priest. The support from parish priest should come in the form of leadership, guidance, and also as a channel, formal channel to the Archdiocese Office of Human Development, Integral Human Development. And then after the support of parish priest, after discussing the idea of forming a team, a pro-tem committee, in order to form a ministry, parish integral human development ministry. Now we're going to do it by, number 1, inviting all BEC leaders into this ministry, liturgy, and so youth to join into this particular SPDP and all to join into this particular meeting or sharing. And also open this up to people who are interested in integral human development methods. Now the idea of this gathering is simply to explain the rationale behind the formation of a ministry, Integral Human Development Ministry, and for that purpose we would invite a representative from the Archdiocesan Office of Integral Human Development to come in and share with us what is the significance of this ministry and what we are doing. Now the third step is of course to form, from the Pro-Tem Committee, to form a team which is formed of representatives from the different ministries as well as BECs. Now, members of this team will also include, for example, professionals and retirees who later on be our resource person to train people, the people who we want to train up. For example, we discussed a few minutes perhaps on issues such as training people, helping them to save money, giving them loans so that they can set up their own businesses and develop themselves. I guess the idea is to teach them to fish and not give them a fish method. Then once that is sorted out, we will then analyze the different needs of the parish. Now, just taking some examples, getting this information, of course, from the BECs. St. John's will have major needs for migrant workers, senior migrant workers. Fatima, maybe people who are economically disadvantaged. Holy Rosary could be a problem of the integration between the Mandarin-speaking and the English-speaking community. Now, once the needs are analysed and focused upon, we will then create awareness among general parishioners, either from the pulpit, by flyers, or by other forms of publicity, so that the parishioners are aware of the actions that would be taken once the problem has been identified. And we will later put on or prepare a planner, a year planner, to say what are our plans for the next following year, and also to prepare and establish a budget. Formation of funds, where we get these funds from, projects, for example, raise funds for projects for raising funds, etc. Then we would actually, once this is sorted out, we hope by then it's not only paper but action, some things move on. And there's also two suggestions. Once the parish PIHDM, is a big thing to remember now, PIHDM is formed, we also hope that at the district level, each representative from each parish, we have 4 parishes, St. Anthony, St. John's, Fatima and Holy Rosary will meet together either once or twice a year to share and discuss the ideas and problems that they are facing to support each other, and of course to attend the meeting when AOHD calls for one, the biennial meeting. That's it. That's all.
In fact, asking them how to help me to strengthen, because for our parish just now this OLL is actually quite well established. We already set up this very well, and they have no problems, and the program is very good, and they have once in 2 months meetings, and actually the BEC they actually put in how to be self-supporting, and also instead of depend on PIHD totally, they actually use a program of self-supporting, and for this what called some sort like the BEC will have this what called frequencies to generate some funds, so they can disperse some of the funds to them. So the other thing is just now they showed me is how to improve it. Is the BEC actually, let's say they what called, if there's a new adoptee or whatever approach them, the BEC will have to do the groundworks, and in addition to that, then if they have funds to support it, they found the case deserving. And if it's, they have short of funds, then they will go back to the PIHD funds. And I found that this is quite good in such a case that they straight away refer to their parish priest, and one of the members will decide on that rather than get the whole groups. Once or 2 months, they will officially meet and discuss the deserving cases or this and that. And in addition to that, the new when they have this new what called adoptee or whatever approach them, they rather than give them cash or this and that, they do a very good job in that. They make sure that they for example, they need a ticket or whatever, they really bring them to the they see to it, not just by giving them the money. They make sure that they send them to the place there, and make sure they buy a ticket and really send that person not to what called it's the outstation or the service. So rather than some cases of abusing or something like that, so they have this thing. And even in some cases, I think in some cases there's some kind of cases of abuse. Okay, one thing I think this is very good sharings for our parish to have it is that there's one case, like abuse case. So rather than they go and have them immediately, what they ask the person is that make a police report first. So once they bring a police report, then they will have them to refer the case to, let's say for example, this one is a husband abuse and they got 3 children. They they make a report first, and then they make sure they see to it, and they send it, they contact some of our NGO, those in jail or whatever, like women in crisis, and they make sure that they send them there, and make sure that it's a safe journey to, to have them through, and what about professionally hand over to the other group is really know how to handle they are not. And I think that's more or less, people that even though they share with me is that most of their, because they are very well established, most of their this what is actually is a non-Christian. Almost 99% of the people that approach them is non-Christian, and they do quite a good, hope that share it.